After 18 months away from international travel together, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have stepped back onto the global stage. But this time, it wasn't for ceremony, royal tradition, or media spectacle. It wasn't about balcony appearances or formal state banquets. Instead, it was about healing, humanitarian work, and standing alongside families caught in the middle of conflict. In February 2026, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex arrived in Amman, Jordan, for a focused 2-day humanitarian mission centered on healthcare, trauma recovery, and displaced communities. The trip marked their first overseas visit together in roughly a year and a half, and from the moment they landed, it was clear this would be different from the royal tours of the past. Their arrival was understated. There were no elaborate receptions or carefully choreographed ceremonial welcomes. Jordan, a country that has become one of the most critical humanitarian hubs in the Middle East, served as the backdrop for a visit grounded in practical engagement rather than pageantry. Hosting millions of refugees from neighboring conflicts, Jordan plays a central role in regional relief and health coordination. It was here that Harry and Meghan chose to reintroduce themselves internationally. One of the most powerful moments of the visit took place inside a hospital in Amman, where they met children evacuated from Gaza who are now receiving urgent medical treatment. These young patients carry more than physical injuries. Many are also living with deep psychological trauma caused by conflict and displacement. The couple spent time speaking with families and listening to medical professionals describe both the immediate and long-term needs of the children. Meghan was seen kneeling beside hospital beds, speaking gently at eye level with young patients. Harry engaged doctors in detailed conversations about trauma care and recovery timelines. The discussions went beyond immediate surgeries or medications, focusing instead on the longer road to healing. This hospital visit was organized in partnership with the World Health Organization, which has been coordinating health responses for displaced populations in the region. The conversations centered on integrating mental health services into emergency medical treatment, especially for children who have witnessed violence and upheaval. Mental health became a central theme throughout the trip. At a rehabilitation center, the Duke and Duchess met therapists and counselors working with displaced youth. They observed sessions where children used art, storytelling, and group discussions as tools to process fear and loss. Trauma in children often manifests quietly, and without proper intervention, it can shape their futures in lasting ways. Before departing the center, Harry and Meghan left handwritten notes of encouragement for the young patients. Their message emphasized resilience, hope, and the importance of seeking support. For Prince Harry, who has spoken openly about his own mental health journey, the issue is deeply personal. His advocacy over the years has consistently highlighted the need to normalize conversations about psychological well-being. In Jordan, that commitment appeared grounded and deliberate. The visit continued at the Za'atari refugee camp, one of the largest refugee camps in the world. Originally established to house Syrians fleeing war, Za'atari has grown into a structured community where tens of thousands of people now live. What was meant to be temporary has, for many families, become a long-term reality. Walking through the camp's organized streets, the couple met parents navigating years of displacement. They visited educational spaces where children attend classes and participate in youth programs designed to restore a sense of stability. Rather than delivering lengthy speeches, Harry and Meghan focused on listening. They asked questions about access to healthcare, schooling, and employment opportunities within the camp. Displacement, on this scale, reshapes lives. Children grow up knowing camp boundaries as their neighborhood. Parents work to maintain dignity and normalcy in environments defined by uncertainty. By spending time inside Za'atari, the couple helped bring renewed international attention to a community that has existed for years outside the spotlight of breaking news. On the second day, their itinerary shifted toward food security. They visited the regional headquarters of World Central Kitchen, an organization known for rapid response meal distribution in disaster and conflict zones. Inside the facility, volunteers coordinated logistics, prepared meals, and managed supply chains that reach vulnerable populations across the region. Food is often the most immediate and pressing need during crises. Without stable access to nutrition, recovery stalls before it begins. Harry and Meghan observed how meals are prepared and distributed, speaking with volunteers about the scale of operations and the challenges of reaching communities affected by violence. The visit underscored a simple but critical reality. Before long-term rebuilding can happen, survival must be secured. Throughout the two-day trip, the structure of their engagements suggested a shift in strategy. Since stepping back from official royal duties in 2020, Harry and Meghan have navigated a complex public landscape that included media projects, high-profile interviews, and philanthropic initiatives. This visit felt more streamlined and policy-focused. There were no product announcements or entertainment ventures tied to the trip. The emphasis remained firmly on partnerships with established institutions like the World Health Organization and operational organizations delivering direct aid. The tone was measured and serious, centering on issues rather than personalities. Media coverage reflected this shift. While commentary varied, many observers described the visit as a return to core humanitarian priorities. Some viewed it as a recalibration after months of relatively lower public visibility. Others framed it as a deliberate move to solidify their independent global identity, separate from the British royal family. The broader royal context inevitably lingered in the background. Ongoing scrutiny and developments within the monarchy back in the United Kingdom continue to draw headlines. Yet in Jordan, Harry and Meghan operated independently, representing their own foundation and chosen partnerships rather than the crown. That distinction shaped both the tone and the purpose of the visit. Short humanitarian trips cannot solve systemic crises. They cannot end wars, eliminate displacement, or erase trauma. But they can amplify the work of those on the ground. International attention can help organizations secure funding, expand services, and maintain visibility for populations that risk being forgotten as global headlines shift. For the families receiving medical care, attending therapy sessions, or relying on food assistance, sustained support matters far more than symbolic gestures. If visibility translates into resources, then even a brief visit can have meaningful impact. As the two-day mission came to an end, there was no dramatic farewell. The departure was quiet, consistent with the tone that defined the entire trip. What remains are the images: a hospital room where children continue their recovery, a refugee camp classroom filled with young students, volunteers preparing meals for families they may never meet. Whether interpreted as a strategic repositioning or a deeply personal commitment to humanitarian work, this visit marked a renewed international chapter for Prince Harry and Meghan. In a global climate often dominated by controversy and distraction, they chose to highlight healing and resilience. In doing so, they redirected the spotlight, even briefly, toward communities whose stories deserve sustained attention. And sometimes, that redirection is where real influence begins.